get through.
Are we on? Everybody ready? Yeah. Welcome to the Essex Junction Trustee meeting. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, looks like we have a full house ready to go. First step, Evan, what do we have for, we have a number of agenda additions.
I'm sorry to say, I
okay.
saved them all for one night.
It happens.
I have, I believe, 4.
Yep.
I have agenda addition to 6B, a new business item to seek approval to sell a fire truck. Our new one is coming in, and so we're gonna move to sell this one, so I have that one. For the reading file, we have the Chittenden County public hearing notice for Wednesday, July 18th at 6 p.m. at Canal Street. 9D for the consent agenda, I believe this is the bills list.
Yep.
And then we have an executive session item. This is a memo for that.
Okay.
That's 10B.
Okay. Do we hear a motion?
Move we approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, great. So we don't have an audience here tonight, but that's not going to stop us from having a public hearing, because we have a broader audience through Channel 17. So let's, I think we can proceed right into that. Lauren, do you want to take us through with that?
Sure.
Yep.
So this is a hearing for the combined water, wastewater, and sanitation rates for FY19. We're proposing that the total for all three will be 0.0316 per cubic foot, fixed charge $71.45 per quarter, or $285.80 a year, which is an increase of 4.7% over this current year. And the cost to our average user will be about $470.34 a year, or $39.20 a month, which is pretty reasonable. The water user rate is, which we went over last meeting, is 0.0175 per cubic foot, fixed charge $25.03 per quarter, or $100 a year. 6% increase, and that's driven by an 8% increase in the operating budget, which was primarily to increase our transfer to the capital reserve, which is in great need, and then a 3% increase in the CWD wholesale rate. The wastewater treatment user rate is proposed at 0.0088 per cubic foot of water, metered, and fixed charge of $23.56 a quarter, or $94.24 a year. That's a 6% increase on that one as well. Cost to the average user of $145.63, or $12.14 a month. And in this budget, fixed charges are 65% of the budget. And the reason for the increase is a 4.3% increase in the operating budget, a small increase in the village percentage of flow, and then we have a drop in the anticipated village septic revenue. That has to do with the leachate contracts that we canceled. The village sanitation user rate is proposed at 0.0053 per cubic foot. Fixed charge of $22.86 per quarter, or $91.44 a year. This is only a 1% increase. Cost to the average user is $122.39 a year, at $10.20 a month. And in this budget, 75% of the budget is fixed charges. We have been increasing the rate for sanitation each year because of the wastewater upgrade debt. We haven't quite got it so that we're collecting it all this year, but each year, but we've got enough to to get ourselves through. We just have to do that little increase every year. And then we had a slight increase in the operating budget of 2.5%. The large user rate, large water user rate is proposed at .078 per 1,000 gallons of water, and we only have one large user, that's Global Foundries, and this is an increase of 6.7% from last year. A lot of that has to do with the fact that they have predicted a drop in their usage, not a big drop, but a small drop, and this amount of money gets reconciled every year to our unaccounted water. So we never, we don't lose, it's just a reconciliation. We either give them money back or they pay us a little extra each year. The wastewater treatment wholesale rate is proposed at 2.983 per 1,000 gallons, with an increase of 4.9%, and there's an increase in the operating budget of 4.8%, and a small decrease in other revenues, and that's the cause for the increase in the rate there. And those are our rates for next year.
Okay.
Any questions?
We're still the lowest, we're among, I think, as I looked at it, we're one of the second lowest.
Second lowest.
Second lowest.
Right.
What, just out of curiosity, that always interests me, what generally accounts for the fact that other communities are higher than we are? What are their costs? Are they infrastructure?
Yeah, I'm
costs?
sure, they must be, because, everybody gets the same CWD rate.
Right.
So it's the distribution systems that must be costing them more money. We also have the wastewater treatment facility.
Right.
And that keeps, because we can use our septic revenues against the rate, it keeps that down a little bit than other communities.
Okay.
And we're pretty compact, I think that's part of it.
Right. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, no, it's an interesting thing.
It is.
In terms of the bigger picture of things, the expenses we're looking at. Yeah, okay. Good, thanks. Any other questions? Okay. So I will make a motion that we close the public hearing, and I think, is this the last one we have, Lauren?
It is.
This is the
We'll be
last?
setting the rates tonight.
We'll be setting the rates tonight, so I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing for water and sewer rates.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And so now we will move on to old business. Oops. And we will set those rates. And I don't think there's any, let me, I'll read them one more time. The cost the cost of the village resident using 120 gallons per day will increase by 4.7%, or $21.19 per year. The large user rate is increasing, that's for Global Foundries, is increasing by 6.7%. The wastewater treatment wholesale rate is increasing by 4.9%. And I will make a motion that we approve the FYE 19 utility rates as stated above.
Second?
Who got the second? Andrew?
Sure.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great, thank you. Let's go back, and where are we now? So, we are now on to appointment to the Planning Commission and the Bike Walk Advisory Committee. Evan?
We had our candidate a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
We have since received no further candidates,
Mhm.
so we are recommending approval of Caitlin Hayes.
Okay.
But also, I believe she's also looking to serve on the Bike
The
Walk
Bike Walk
Advisory.
Advisory Committee, yep.
So we could maybe do a twofer.
Yep.
So if I can ask a question on that,
Yeah,
did
absolutely.
anyone specifically ask her that?
No.
Because we didn't during the
We
interview.
didn't talk about that.
We only had talked to her about the planning
Right,
commission.
correct. I think there was,
I know it was
much
in
questions,
her,
yeah.
Yeah, and I know it was in her letter that she was
Yeah.
interested in both.
She was
Right.
interested in that, the
Or-
planning commission, the bike walk, or the zoning board.
Yeah.
Right.
And I
So
think
giving her
since,
two?
what's that?
She specifically wants 2 seats, one on each committee?
Yeah, that's what I've been told from staff, but if we want to bring her in for that interview for Bike Walk.
I don't want to bring her for the interview, we just didn't ask her the question. I think if you want to be on 2 boards.
Yeah.
Right, that's my questions.
I say we offer it and give her the out of one if she
How often does the bike walk committee meet?
Once a month.
Once a month? I mean, the planning commission is,
Right,
you know,
Just
they're
check
not.
in, make sure
Yeah.
we're not, you know,
yeah,
that didn't come up at all when she came in, so.
yeah.
So pending her acceptance of approving her to both.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, I'm not understanding. Are we appointing her or are we gonna bring her in? We're gonna appoint her to
Appoint.
both?
Yeah.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
I move that we appoint Caitlin Hayes to serve on the planning commission through 6/30/2020 and the bike walk advisory committee through 6/30/2021.
Second.
Second?
And maybe subject to her
Subject to her
accepting the bike walk.
Accepting both.
I mean, we don't have the authority to force her to do this.
No,
If she wants to
her
not have
choice.
one, she can leave anytime.
Yes.
It's a voluntary thing.
Yes.
So by accepting us, we're not sentencing her to this. Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Well, just for,
Go ahead, Dan.
for, you know, the record, anybody that's serving on any board is not held
No.
on that board.
No.
If they choose to step down, they can always
No.
step down, so I just.
No, that's just
It's
not
like
right.
we're-
It's,
yeah, we're not tyrants here.
no. We wish we had that authority sometimes, but we don't. To just say, no, you must do this. Okay, we're moving along pretty fast. So, go ahead.
Maybe just one of the items in your packet
Oh, yes, we need to get to,
is our volunteer opportunities. So we
Yep.
still have a list of some open positions. Maybe you might want to
Read those.
read those.
why don't you go ahead? I don't have them immediately available to them. Anyone have them?
We have 1 2-year term on the Plan Commission, still available. We have a zoning board of adjustment available. We have 1 1-year term on the bike walk advisory and 2 3-year terms on the bike walk advisory. We have 1 vacancy on the capital program review committee and 1 vacancy on the Brunel Library Board of Trustees.
Didn't we just change that tonight?
I think the planning commission, when we just
It's
filled.
now filled.
I think
Is that
that's
just the
filled.
one?
I think we just had one.
And so one of the bike
One of the bike
walks.
walks.
Bike walk.
So we still have 1 of those,
We have
capital,
1 3-year
Brunel,
bike walk.
and zoning board of, okay.
So there are no positions available on the planning commission at this
And
point.
just those interested could send me a email or a letter, and that'll start the process.
Right. Okay. And I think we advertise these on the village website. Do we frequently advertise them on Front Porch Forum? I've seen them on occasion. We want to do it. Maybe we could do
Do it
it without
again.
getting, okay. So we are on to discuss goals and objectives for subcommittee for governance, and this is, I guess, me to discuss this. I had recommended that we have this be a 2-piece item because I thought it would be important to be instead of just appointing people, we sort of talk about what we thought this was about. And Elaine, I watched the select board. They came before us and they made their appointments already, and they appointed Max and Irene. And so, do you want to would you mind sort of quickly reviewing what they did and what their thoughts were?
Sure, so, the view of the select board is that the committee's purpose is to investigate options for potential governance changes, to compile questions that both boards may have about what our options are, and to research and consult with experts on the answers.
Okay.
And then to come back to both boards and report their findings and possibly even some recommendations based on the research.
Okay.
But it's not to make any decisions on behalf of both of the boards, and anything that they come back with will not be a foregone conclusion that would not go through a proper vetting process or
Okay.
through the voters.
Okay.
Great.
I had just my own thought in watching it, and just over the last, if you just take a minute here, is that one of the things that I had wanted to add to this was I think it would be really important for us, even though all 9 of us have said we support consolidation, I'm a little concerned that we've created an atmosphere where it's politically incorrect to say that you don't support consolidation. And so I'm a little concerned that we're all saying we support consolidation, but 6 months from now or 9 months from now, we may discover that someone has very strong feelings about particular things that aren't that they necessarily don't want to say in public, or they were not asked. What I'm getting at is, I would like to know a little bit more about what's on the mind of each one of the elected officials, all of us and every member of the select board, about it in terms of what do they see consolidation doing? What are they willing to compromise on? What are some of the things that they may not be willing to compromise on? For example, if some people feel that under no circumstances that they want to see the Essex Town Charter dissolved, then why have a discussion about dissolving the Essex Town Charter? If someone feels absolutely that they would never support that. So that might be a good thing for someone to know, or for the rest of us to know, if someone has very strong feelings about some particular piece, but maybe not. Dan?
I mean, I think, you know, we did come to a consensus that we
Yeah.
all support consolidation, but what that is beyond, I mean, we support the consolidation yet here too, for whatever, what we're planning so far,
Right.
but beyond that, this committee, assume, is what they're gonna look at, the governance and such, beyond consolidation. Consolidation is really a whole change of governance. It's just, you know, it's a small, but I did look at, the other thing is, one member is unhappy with something. I don't look at that as the end of the process. I
No.
look at, we're a democracy, the majority rules, whether it's an opinion that I support or not, I go with what the majority says, and that's the way we do it. If we're looking for consensus, we're never gonna get anywhere, I think. It's gonna be very, very slow.
Yeah, I hear you. I wasn't quite saying, I wasn't saying, okay, we're gonna find out everything everyone wants, but it seems like for the last few meetings when we've talked about it, we've had a whole bunch of other things on the agenda, and most of our conversations about this are punctuated with public comment, and so that dialogue never really gets to flow. And I just feel that one meeting where we all came to, at 81 Main Street, we all said, yeah, we support consolidation, we see it going forward, we all do, but I wish we could have kept that going for about just another 20 minutes, do you know what I'm saying? To dig down a little bit deeper, not necessarily to say, well, what are the roadblocks, or otherwise, if we don't resolve this, we're not gonna go forward, but just to get, what are some of the, I keep going back to my point, which is that I think the experts are sitting at the table right now. I think the experts are on the select board and the trustees in terms of the sort of the technical inside things that we're concerned about. And I'd like to just get those things out on the table before we go much further. Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, but I think it's premature
Okay.
to ask all of us to step forward and say what we're not willing to do, because I think we've had that conversation multiple times, first of all, and it's on record of our concerns about consolidation. When we came to consensus on wanting to be consolidated, reservations were expressed. So I think we have some of that on record. Also, I think even though there may be people who say, I don't want to dissolve this charter or that charter, or this is what it really means to me, I think we still need to do the research, because we are the experts at the table here in Essex.
Mm-hmm.
But the experts on the law are in Montpelier.
Right.
And so I don't feel comfortable continuing this conversation without their help, because we just don't know what's legal and what's not legal.
Right.
And the last thing I'd like to say is I don't want to set it up in advance that someone's going to disagree about something.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
may be very set against a particular thing, but then I might have my mind changed. Or something might come up where we're told, don't forget, if you do this, you're going to have to do that. And we all go, oh my gosh, we don't want that at all. So we don't even know what we don't know. Yeah.
Well, maybe I expressed myself the wrong way. I was just kind of thinking that one of the things that this group could do would be within themselves, and then with each other member, just one-on-one sort of interview them, each person.
That would
and
be
say,
worthwhile.
what are the things that why do you support consolidation? What do you think what's the most important thing you want to get out of this? And what are some of the concerns you have? Maybe not necessarily, maybe saying roadblocks, or non-negotiable things, maybe that's not the right question, but saying, what are your concerns going forward? What are you afraid of losing? So we sort of just get a sense, we just get information. It doesn't mean we can't go forward, and it doesn't mean it's going to stop. But I just thought that that would be one of the tasks of this committee, that's all.
That I think is great.
Okay.
An exploratory conversation with individual
Right.
members, I think is an excellent idea.
Right, okay.
I do think that meeting that we had at 81 Main Street, to your point, was really good.
Yes, it was.
And it was really good that we all took the time to voice what we thought. And I think we should make sure that we do that at every joint meeting we have about consolidation, that we do set aside, half an hour, no matter how late it is, and I'm the first one to complain it's late, that, we go around the table and we give our opinions about what we just talked about.
Right.
And be
Yeah.
honest with each other. It's the only way we're gonna build trust and move this forward. I
Yeah, I agree. I think that that's really the starting point, is just sort of know each other's minds.
Right.
It's not like to say we're trying to out somebody or
No.
something like that, but it's just trying to say we all have a sense of trust and just a little bit more dialogue. We've had good dialogue. I'd just like to see,
More of it.
I would like to have had more at this point.
I agree with you.
But,
And
yeah.
I do like the idea of the interviews, I think. And
Yeah, that'd
more
be
at a
valuable.
time, but I think it's valuable for the people on the committee.
The only thing that I would add is that you mentioned individuals maybe having concern about saying something in public.
Yes.
I think as public officials, if any of us are concerned about something that we may say not being widely accepted or being unpopular, I would ask that we reflect on whether we feel we're doing the best service as an elected official at that point,
Mhm.
because we need to be comfortable to say things that
Yeah,
might
absolutely.
be provocative.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, I think that other than I would suggest maybe just this committee, I guess what I'm saying is that I sort of see this from our perspective doing generally the same thing that the select board has in mind for this little group. But I would just add, I would like to see the group just try to contact each person on the board and just try to make that effort to reach out and say, what do you, the group can figure out what the questions are, but what do you hope to gain? What do you think, even what's a timeline for you? Just sort of get a general sense of where they want to go. I think it'd be worthwhile to have that.
Good.
Any other discussion here? Okay, so who wants to do this?
I volunteer.
Okay.
I nominate George.
I'm happy to do it, but I don't want to take someone else's spot. You sure? Lori, you're free now.
I have strong opinions about this, but
Yeah.
I think that you and Elaine are best suited.
Well, if you have strong opinions about it, I mean, that's, don't necessarily, I don't mind.
Oh, no, I don't want to be on it.
Andrew?
Nope,
No?
I'm good.
Okay.
There's enough going on.
Well,
Yeah.
will you
I'll be
let me-
happy to talk to you in an interview.
Will you'll let me know your strong opinions?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, you're
I'll
gonna
let everyone know my
vocalize, we're
strong
gonna vocalize
opinions.
your strong opinions.
And you know I will do that.
Okay.
No, I think you two are well suited for it.
I would like to point out that if we do these interviews with each member, all of it has to be public.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
So the
Oh, I
results
don't-
of these interviews will be made public.
I don't see any of this taking place behind closed
No,
doors.
it's just for the record, getting it out there that
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
if we have a conversation over coffee, I'm gonna be taking notes.
And it might turn out to be too impossible to do. It was just a thought, really. I'd just like to dig in a little bit more of what
We actually
really-
have all the time in the world to do this.
Right, it's not like we have a,
Okay.
There's not a deadline,
Right.
so.
Yeah, no, I
agree
know.
with that. That's not rushing.
Okay.
So, but the first one was goals of the committee. So are you saying you would adopt the select board was investigate options, compile questions, research, and consult with experts, and you're adding a fourth, do exploratory interviews of the board members to see
Right.
their
Concerns, hopes and concerns.
concerns, that things that really need to be addressed or addressed through the process.
Right.
Yes.
Not so much one person, I'm against this, but what's your concern, and we'll just try to address it
Yeah.
as part of the process.
Yes.
I didn't see this, I didn't read the select board as having, these were really firm. I think once the group gets together and may decide to add something else or drop some of the things, but this was just sort of a general sense of what we were gonna do.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think it should be made very clear that no one's designing a consolidation scheme here.
Not at all.
They're just trying to provide the framework for moving forward.
Right.
Okay,
Great.
Okay,
Thank you,
so-
Elaine and George.
George.
Yeah.
All right, thank you,
Thank
thank you for appointing us. Okay, so,
Do we need a vote or?
Let's
Yeah.
I think we need to.
okay.
Second.
I will make a motion that we appoint Elaine Sopchak and George Tyler to be the trustees of the subcommittee for governance.
Second.
I
Any
guess
further
it's-
discussion?
are the three of us that voted?
I guess it's just the three of them. voting.
So we can't vote if you're appointing us.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Two
Okay.
abstained.
Okay. Maybe we could get one of those chartered cruises that goes across Lake Champlain as our first venue in the summer.
Oh,
you know,
that's
in
a nice
August.
idea.
Spirited finale.
And just stay on that till you figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. We won't,
You guys are Gilligan's Island. You can go out to one of the Four Brothers Islands.
Right.
Be out there like Gilligan's Island.
Survival,
Yeah.
survival of the
Right,
fittest.
survivor.
pretend we can't see the rest of the
Whoever
world.
survives gets to play.
Exactly.
3 hours.
All right. Okay. Great, well, thanks, that was good. So, let's move on to new business, and do you want to do the pumper truck first? What did we say we're gonna do? So let's do, Lauren, why don't you do the transfer of funds between general fund?
Okay, so according to our charter, if any of our departments is gonna overspend, we have to do a formal transfer or,
Move.
yeah, it's not, we don't really actually transfer the budget, but we cover it with other budgets that are gonna have a surplus. And this particular fiscal year, it looks like, to me, it looks like the Lincoln Hall budget is going to be over, and that's because we added Park Street School to it.
Yep.
The fire department is going to be over budget, and a lot of that is vehicle maintenance. They've had a lot of vehicle maintenance problems. And the Parks and Rec budget is going to be over 16,000, 22,000, I don't know, who knows exactly what. But, so we'd like to cover those overages with the surpluses that we will be having in the other departments, administration, economic development, community development, street department, and Brown Library. And debt service actually is gonna have some too, because we didn't have to pay some of the pool debt interest, so.
Okay.
When we do this annually, don't we usually see the overages and the shortages? I agree with this in principle, but I'd like to see the numbers.
How's your, according to Lauren, how's your vision?
Can you see it? I mean, it's like, it's really very estimated at this point, even though we're 2 weeks from the end of the fiscal year, because we have bills that come in all through July.
Why don't you just give the rough numbers? of
Okay,
what we're
so
talking about?
admin should be under budget by about 16,000, economic development, 6,000, Lincoln Hall will be over budget by 4,000, ComDev under budget by about 20,000, fire department over budget by about 33,000, street budget under budget by about 10,000, Parks and Rec, I've got it over budget 22,000, library under budget by about 40,000, and debt service under budget by 4,000. No, I'm sorry, 5,000. But the other thing is our revenues are low this year. Our permit fees, we have been surpassing 60,000 for years now, and at this point, we've only got 29,000 in, so those are way down.
Is that under community development or economic development, the permit fees?
The permit fees are in our revenue, in our general fund revenue,
Yeah.
$30,000.
And yet we have a large permit coming through, probably right at the beginning of the next
Until it'll
fiscal
go
year.
into next year and.
I see, okay, so
Mhm.
normally it just got moved around, okay.
Yeah, it's,
Well, it's just the timing. We
Yeah.
had, as far as I understand, we had some belief that this project was going to be a month or two ago, and it's probably going to be a month from now.
What is, oh, go ahead, Lori. What is the Brownell $40,000.
Salary,
Oh,
youth director, or the youth librarian.
They didn't hire one, they had
They
it.
didn't, it took them a while to replace her, so there's benefits as well as salaries and things of that essence.
Do we know what the, I don't mean to, do we know what the rec department overage was? Do you have a sense of
She's at
that?
22, right?
I don't
But
know
what-
16, I
exactly
thought. it was.
Well, why? And
But
the
why?
question is why?
why.
Yeah,
Oh, why? Oh.
I'm guessing it was like equipment or something like that, probably.
It might have been, they're very high on their benefits. I think we didn't budget that correctly.
Okay,
It was our first year with them,
yeah,
and it was a change for how they were budgeting things.
right.
And, let's see, their liability insurance, very high, about $11,000 over what we had estimated. So those things, they've had higher than anticipated part-time salaries. And the electricity, their building expenses, electrical and heating have been high.
Okay.
On the vehicle maintenance at the fire station, so are we anticipating that this new truck will help alleviate some of that going forward?
That'd be part of the hope.
Thing. I would hope.
This part of, I have not spoken directly with the chief about certain things, but I think the soon-to-be former pumper truck was problematic. It being old and trying to keep up with standards and things of that nature. For those who may not know, certain trucks of those size and those things, those tires, those axles, the pumps themselves are incredibly expensive. I think a tire can run anywhere from $900 to $1,200 a tire. And you just don't get them anywhere.
Right.
So it's those types of things. And when you're dealing, and that's one of the things when you're dealing with older vehicles, you play that
Right.
balance game. Can you get another year out of it? Are you
Right.
going to put this kind of money into it? And then as you'll see in your sale, you just don't really get it back out. So you're always doing that balance, but they've had a rough year with that, there's no doubt.
Thanks.
And their salaries are high.
Yeah.
They've had a lot of call-outs, and they must have gotten a lot of new recruits because their uniforms are
Yeah.
high as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
all of those things.
Yep.
good
Yeah.
things though.
Good things.
Yeah, they're good things. We have, they're turning away volunteers, as I understand it, which is a good thing, but on the other hand, it is an expense, so, yeah.
The net of what you're talking about, is that just gonna be a wash, or is there?
I think we'll have a little plus to add to our fund balance a little bit.
But very,
But very, very small. But then, I tend to be conservative when I do these things.
Yeah,
We might do better than I thought.
and we're still working through Park School and what its costs are.
Right.
They've come in a little higher than we had thought.
Yeah. And then I think the work on 2 Lincoln is now complete. So building looks better.
Yeah, that's great.
We have the fan went off. But we did some nice things, and so, but yeah, we're pretty tight. It would have been nice if some of that permit stuff had come in, but like I said, we're expecting. It's we have a hotel being proposed on Pearl Street next to Dollar Store. So when that comes in, if it does come in like it's supposed to, you'll see permit fees shoot right back up. Timing is everything.
Okay, any further questions?
No.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll move that the trustees make a motion or approve the use of surpluses in the administration, economic development, community development, street department, Brownell Library, and debt service budgets to cover deficits in other general fund budgets.
Second?
Any further discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
And, I mean, if anyone feels more comfortable by getting a specific accounting at a certain point, that'll be available. We can do that, if that's gonna be.
Well,
Ultimately.
Generally, when the audit comes,
Okay.
you'll get, you know, we'll have everything in at
If you
that
want-
point and reconciled.
As you all know, the fiscal year ends June 30th, which is a couple
Right,
of
I
days
get-
from now.
we get why this
But
is
there's a
happening.
lot
I get
of
why you're doing this.
paperwork.
We
Yeah,
do.
we have to do this in the last 3 months before the end of the year, so.
Yeah, got it, yeah, but I just said, if someone felt uncomfortable, not quite with the numbers, then,
And as you guys probably well know, sometimes, was it about 3, 4 months later, or 5 months later, when we do the audit, sometimes the auditor says, wait, this, you know, this bill really should be something else or whatever. So they will ask and move some things around, but it gets pretty close.
We try to get it right.
Yes, we do.
okay. Well, speaking of $40,000 used bumper trucks, Devin,
Well, luckily, very nicely done. The village boards, maybe a year back, approved the purchase of a new pumper truck
Right.
to replace the 1997 E1 pumper. I believe you guys are buying a Pierce Arrow, which I had nothing to do with the decision, but I have been a fan of the Pierce trucks in my career. I have seen many a community try to save some money and go to a less expensive vehicle, and Pierce tends to outperform them, outlast them, out-maintenance cost them over those years. And so I applaud you for stepping up and doing that. And so our 2017 Pierce truck is coming off the line. It is going to be available very shortly, and therefore this pumper will be surplus, and the process is to go to a vendor who will then market it and sell it, and the anticipated price would be somewhere near $40,000. So we need your approval to move for the sale of the truck to Command Fire Apparatus.
I'll move that the trustees approve the sale of the fire department's 1997 E1 pumper to Command Fire Apparatus for $40,000.
here a second?
Second?
Dan seconds, any questions, further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great,
Thank you.
all right. So, we are now on to manager's report.
How long would you like me to go?
Yeah, you just got about 10 minutes.
No, I could do this in just a couple. Prior to going on the camera, we talked a little bit about Route 117 construction for those at home.
Right.
This has been a long-awaited resurfacing over near 289, and it is going out to Richmond. They have started. And as anybody who has gone through there, it's frustrating. But it's not a village project, it's a state project. It is hard to do when you're dealing with bridges and a road that's winding, but they should be done still yet this summer in the construction season. But it's been long awaited, so it's going to be for a while. Please plan for extra time, and please be careful of others who are walking, jogging, biking in that area. I know you're running late. Don't run other people over.
Well, especially the workers too.
Or work, yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Or workers.
Workers I've been
Please.
investigating.
Please.
Accidents where
Yeah.
bad things.
Somewhat of the same comment, we have both communities, the town of Essex, the village of Essex Junction, take walking and biking and pedestrian activities very seriously. When people are at the crosswalks, it's a caution sign, but you are supposed to stop for people in the crosswalks. Please be mindful of it, and they think you're gonna stop. Please be mindful of the walkers and bikers that are sharing the road with you. We get a lot of people complaining, but it is a caution sign. Unless you are in the crosswalk, then they're supposed to stop.
I can just add, one
Yes, ma'am.
comment to that, especially be careful of the children.
Yeah.
Because, we as adults understand that we need to see and know that they're stopping. I think sometimes kids, oh, well, here's a crosswalk, I'm gonna cross, and they don't realize that they also have to be aware
Right.
of.
And if there is a button to start the flashing
Right,
lights,
should be used.
please push it.
Yeah.
That's what it's there for. And so another shameless plug for the farmer's market that is on Wednesdays from 4 to 7. We are getting very good crowds. We are getting good vendors. Maybe you could think of it like going there on Wednesday and having a new restaurant here every Wednesday. This last Wednesday was Pizza Veritas, and to their surprise, they did not bring enough dough and ran out very quickly because the response was fantastic.
Pizza Veritas?
I believe, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's
from-
in truth,
from
there's pizza? Or is it, the pizza is in truth? I'm not sure.
The Truth of Pizza. My wife is the one who knows Italian. I will ask her.
Sounds Latin to me.
For the board members, hopefully it will be light out when we go, but we have had Public Works do a striping. It's very light and faint of what Main Street would look like if there was a park all the way, the closing of Main, etc. If you look out the window, you'll see a little faint white striping that goes around a manhole that's in the street to the far side of.
Can we all get up and look now out the window?
Sure.
Let's do it right now.
Wow.
I was supposed to-
So for the people at
Oh,
home.
right there.
Yeah.
So you can see that there would be quite a lot of green space if those were connected. Go ahead. I don't think people quite understand when you get the radiuses,
Yeah.
how much space is actually there. And when you combine Memorial Park and maybe even the end of the drive that connects to things, you can have quite a lot of green space there. But that's in the future. It's just there to show as a visual how much space there really is.
Yeah.
And that distance, if I may ask, that distance could actually accommodate an 18-wheeler to make that turn? From 117?
When,
Turning radius.
when,
Right,
and-
but
when
from
and
117
if,
up to-
when and if, we will have to make it engineered so 18-wheel trucks and other things can make that swing. But there's also a lot of pavement beyond it. But yes, that would have to be engineered in, and a very large fire truck. Ladder truck such as it is, but those are about the same size as an 18-wheeler.
You'd also have to ensure that if you're coming down 15 from, coming this way on 15 and you want to turn, you want to go across to the rest of 15 and you're going to have to go around this way.
Westbound on 50.
There's nothing here that's going to accommodate an 18-wheeler or a fire truck very well.
Yeah.
So
But it'll have to be engineered, but that was just a general gist of what could be there. I don't know if it'll be exact in that distance, but
I sat outside of McGillicuddy's for lunch today. I was shocked at the number of trucks.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh,
You get a lot of-
I hate when you got on the McGillicuddy's, it's too loud, the
It's-
trucks are right
It was,
there.
I mean, from all directions.
They're going, we
You have
we
three
did
state
a study a long
highways.
time ago. A lot of them are going to the waste station in Williston. They're coming down 15 and going to the waste station in Williston.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I was
but
shocked.
3 state highways come.
Right, yeah, no, I understand that, but I never been
Yeah.
outside during lunch. I was just shocked. Yeah.
You should live on
But the food was good. But the food was
The
good.
food was delicious. We had a very nice time. Yes.
Open positions, HR is filling open positions that we have. So we have found some very good candidates for the Essex Library. We have other interviews going on, so just he's very busy. We're working on policies, etc. Last one, Public Works, both the Public Works and the Highway, Town and Village, the last couple of weeks have been working together. Village is training the town on how they do catch basins.
Nice.
And they're working together because the town liked the way the village was doing them, and they wanted their guys to show them how they do it, because the village does more than the town, so the town does them infrequently. So Rick Jones was very pleased to send me photos of our two crews working together to do some work. So there you have my report.
please.
Thank you. Thank you.
Regarding the schedule up on the screen,
Right.
did we cancel the August 22nd joint meeting?
I thought we did.
I thought we did too.
I believe we did.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that's right.
September,
Good catch
for
on
that, man. Yeah, right, there's no one in, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
And
I
the
mean,
next one is October 11th, so
Right.
yes, that needs to be updated.
yeah. Yep, we definitely did. And I also note that we don't have, that the first regular meeting in July is canceled. Okay. Anything else? Everyone good? Okay. So we're on to the.
Oh, and I apologize.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Vector truck status. You know, we are in a holding pattern with our Vector truck grant. We received a sizable, or at least authorization for a sizable grant to replace our Vector truck. For those in the audience and at home, the Vector truck it's a machine, quite large. It has a very large tank in it, and it sucks out
It's the
debris.
Super Sucker 5000.
It is.
Our affectionate term is the Super Sucker 5000.
That's right.
It sucks debris and other things up from the catch basins, which is part of our permit with the state. It's called the MS4 permit, as well as it makes sure that your catch basins are allowing water to get into them and get into the system. The problem is that the vendors need a waiver from the federal government for the steel and other products.
Oh, no. So we're gonna get with tariffs? What do you, we're getting political here. What's going on?
They have not been able to achieve the waiver, so therefore we cannot purchase it with federal funds. So we're in a holding pattern until that gets resolved.
Okay. So the Super Sucker 6000 is gonna be. All right.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Talking about grants, I forgot to ask this last time when we talked about the grant we're applying for to get the 3 blinky lights. When are we supposed to hear about that? Do you know off the top of your head?
I don't,
Okay.
but I can get
If you
the
could find
answer
out,
for
that'd be
that.
great. I'm just curious. Thank you.
I know it's in next year's budget to pay the match. so-
Okay. Just wondering how.
Yeah.
Because if we don't get the grant, I would love for us to have a conversation on how we could fund it anyway, so it's good to know.
That's it for manager's report.
Okay. Trustees, anything else? And I will just note again that we added to the reading file the public hearing notice for the TIP, the Transportation Improvement Program at the RPC.
Oh,
No, it's a
TIP,
public hearing
TIP.
notice.
TIP.
TIP.
Yeah.
For Wednesday, July 18th at 6 at their Canal Street office. That's probably more for us than for the public, although the public is welcome, but that's their big program. Okay, good.
Wayne has
I think
And-
there's something.
Yep,
I just wanted to acknowledge I had a little snafu with Front Porch Forum this weekend. And I went online to post some stuff for sale. And I'm not sure why, but it posted, instead of just my neighborhood, with me personally, it posted to all of the village neighborhoods under me as a trustee, trying to sell something. So today, I published an apology, because I don't know how it happened, I don't know why it happened, but I just don't want anyone to think I'm trying to take advantage of my role on this board to sell my old stuff, so.
Well, any proceeds, you can just give it to the kids.
I'll donate
you
it
can
to the
donate
library
the
or
front porch
something.
forum to get better software.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't know how that happened, but I hope no one complains.
Okay, thank you, Wayne. Well,
In the spirit
thank you
of
for
full
apologizing.
disclosure.
Okay, so we are on to the consent agenda.
I'll move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I am going to make a motion that pursuant to the open meeting law in 1 VSA, Section 313 and Section 313(1)F, the trustees go into executive session to discuss a confidential attorney-client communication regarding possible litigation to which the public body may be a party where premature public knowledge would place the Village of Essex Junction at a substantial disadvantage, and to invite the unified manager, assistant manager, and village attorney and Essex Junction Recreation and Parks Director to be present.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And we will take a brief, a 5-minute recess while we clear the room. Thank you.